You can't always get what you want. No, you can't always get what you want. No, you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. Whoa, hey, it's the hardest part of the ring. The Royal Rumble edition. I think we got what we needed. Maybe not always what we wanted. Not all of what we wanted. Not all of what I wanted, but we got what we needed. My name is Bob. Thank you for being here on the hardest part of the ring. The Royal Rumble edition. The number 2 most important WWE day of the year, in my humble opinion. The beginning of the road to WrestleMania with all its bumps and its roadblocks and its potholes and its detours and its 5-car pileups and violent head-on collisions and just bodies strewn everywhere and nothing but sadness and tragedy and death. The Royal Rumble. Let's talk about the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble, more than any other pay-per-view for WWE, in my opinion, is, for whatever that's worth, is most hurt by the lack of live fans, maybe even more than WrestleMania. The Rumble relies on the surprise pop, not just the surprise nostalgia entrant, but the surprise return, the surprise moment, even more importantly than the returns and nostalgia entrants, the surprise moments were what make it. The volume of last year's Edge returning, Drew eliminating Brock was absolutely bananas, and the volume is what makes it. I always say Royal Rumble 1990 is so underrated as the damn near most perfectly booked Royal Rumble. The volume of Hogan and Warrior facing off. The thing they wanted to see but didn't think they were going to get to see. Or the thing they didn't know they wanted to see. They got to see. The split crowd, which they would later edit on Saturday Night's Main Event in '92 when Hogan and Sid are beefing and Flair already won and he walked off, of the Hogan chants and the Sid chants and the Hogan boo. All of that. The volume is what makes the Rumble. And this was hurt more than any other event. Maybe even more than WrestleMania. I know I already said that. But I woke up very late. I woke up at 3:30 in the afternoon because I'm a night shift guy now. And then I walked, and so it starts at 4 p.m. at my time. So I saw some of the pre-show. I don't know if there were other pre-show matches. I do know that the pre-show featured the Women's Tag Team Championships. Asuka Charlotte defend against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. And surprise, Charlotte and Asuka was a short-term thing, and Nia Jax wins, of course. Nia Jax took this crumbling, lazy, didn't want to take a big bump from the second turnbuckle. For someone who loves to dish out slamming, won't let you take your own bumps. Nia Jax sure hates taking the big bump. Not surprised. Was not surprised. Lacey Evans and the Nature Boy Ric Flair make a big distraction. Lacey's, what is she doing? Eventually Charlotte kind of knocks her away or kicks her away or something, but then Flair passes a foreign object, presumably brass knuckles or something to that effect, into Lacey's hand, which could have very well, literally just been nothing, and they just act like it, which is an old wrestling thing as well. But whatever. For the purpose of the story, a foreign object is passed to Lacey, who punches Charlotte in the head as Charlotte is trying to apply her finishing submission maneuver. And Nia Jax, of course, delivers a big leg drop and pins Charlotte. And, of course, Nia has to get to the pin and add a move that didn't need to be added. And we have new tag team champions. Once again, it's Nia and Shayna. We start off the match. We start the show off with the match that I most wanted us to start off with. I was happy we started off with Goldberg and Drew McIntyre. I wanted the big the 3 minute, trading finishing maneuver spot match, basically the Brock match, which has been adopted for Goldberg. That's the match we needed to have. And the way they did it was about exactly, I think it was perfect. It was exactly how it needed to be done. With the exception of the headbutt up top, Drew McIntyre, I think, only hit Claymores. I think Goldberg only hit spears. Oh, Drew hit a spear early on, and then he got speared. Little faux pas here. I don't know if anyone noticed. They kept saying the bell didn't ring, the bell didn't ring yet, the bell didn't ring yet, waiting for the guys to get back into the ring. During introductions, the bell totally rang. Drew does win the thing. I think there was a. This is the first time Goldberg. When I say sold, I'm not just talking about moves like sold with his face. Drew kicks out of the jackhammer. Goldberg sells with his face as much to the best of his ability that he's shocked and surprised Drew kicked out of it. Like he couldn't believe who he was in the ring with instead of someone else having to do this for him. So I appreciated that. I think he just missed a spear, hit a turnbuckle, and took a claymore, and Drew beat him. And I knew they would do the handshake respect thing at the end. That's fun. I don't know why they whispered to each other and Drew kind of laughed, like they thought they were off camera or something. That was kind of odd. Like, okay, it's one thing to show the mutual respect, but to be too buddy-buddy afterwards, I was a little off like that. But for Goldberg to sell with his face for someone else, which he never does during promos or anything else, and raise Drew's hand, I was like, okay, I can back off of this. I can let this go. The computers cheered and chanted very loudly for Goldberg. Somebody made a point online, it wasn't me, that Goldberg needed the security guards for an empty arena. But, fair enough. We go to Sasha Banks defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Carmella and Reginald the Somalian again. Why do I care if he's from Somalia? Why did they tell me that? I don't understand. Before Sasha enters, she talks to Kayla, and Sasha did a fake laugh, which bums me out. I don't like fake laughs. But Carmella was terrific here. I would have been okay with Carmella winning the thing. I was fine with Sasha winning it too, but I would have been okay with Carmella winning it because she's another one like Alexa. She just knocks wackiness out of the park because her new gimmick is essentially an angry drunk, and I don't know how they get away with that. But it is, and Carmella did actual heel things. Like, she'd argue with the referee. She would cheat, and yes, she would cheat in front of the referee, but she'd break it on the count and not totally bury the ref and make him look like an idiot. But she doesn't want to get disqualified because she wants to win the title. It was great. There was a Reginald spot where he caught Sasha Banks, who bounced off the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. And Sasha turned it into some kind of head scissors and took Reginald down. And then Carmella does a crazy, dangerous dive where she, similar to that one they used to always show with Lita and Trish years ago on a main event of Raw, where Lita got bent over backwards. It was similar to that. Glad she's okay. She looked okay, as far as we know. But dangerous. Usually I get on the case of the person catching them, but I mean Carmella ran with a lot of force and Sasha was really close. So, sometimes things just happen. You can say Sasha should have been farther back. You can say Carmella should have ran with less crazy momentum. Or both. You can say whatever you want, but you don't really know unless you're in there. But either way, it was too much momentum for someone being that close. And Sasha just didn't have a prayer of catching her. Thing is, Sasha's a great wrestler and all. We forget she's small. Carmella's tall. She definitely outweighs Sasha, so she came at her with some momentum there. Sasha does win the thing by submission. I like that. Carmella still got her finish in, and Sasha wouldn't tap, but she did tap to Sasha's submission. Sasha's still the champion. Who will Sasha, if anyone, if Sasha's still the champion, go on to face at WrestleMania? That's the thing. I imagine Drew will still be champion. Sometimes with the women, they'll change it up a little bit. Then we had commercials. Why were there commercials? I don't know if everyone got this. I was in the States here, at the quote-unquote United States of America. We had a Chevy commercial and a Capital One commercial for reasons unexplained. I thought I paid $9.99 a month with no commitment for no commercial interruption. Thank you. Biggie and Xavier Woods are in the back, goofing on Sami Zayn, and Kofi surprises him. And Kofi wishes him luck because he's not medically cleared, but they wore their John Huber Brody Lee gear, which is cool. Then Bad Bunny is a rapper that I guess everybody knows, but I don't because I'm 68 years old. Bad Bunny, with Booker T stood there with his arms crossed looking badass, and that's cool. But also, why didn't Booker dance? He did like a little like shuffle at the end for like a second, but as they were winding down, just as like a joke. But in the video that they showed, Booker T was dancing. That's what we wanted to see. Why else would I want to see this? And who the fuck is he performing for? There's no audience. I don't understand the purpose of this. Then we get a package, a big sweaty package, a big Royal Rumble. 30 men, 30 schlongs enter, 29 schlogs get eliminated. And one big hose hog wins the match. We get a big old package. What was the package for? I didn't write that down. I don't know what the package was for. Anyway, Jerry Lawler makes the point for the Women's Rumble, which is next. The Women's Rumble is next. Jerry Lawler makes the point that says, hey, 1 and 2 were pretty much the same, right? Yep. That's what I said on Twitter. It's a popular social media application. 1 and 2 are the same. 1 and 2 are exactly the same, except if you're number 2, number 1 could kick you on the way in a ring. Dana Brooke was on a ring apron. Oh wait, let's not go there yet. Let's hold off there. Bayley is number 1, and Naomi is number 2 when they go back and forth. Bianca is number 3. How about that? I'm not going to go through every single entrant, but I just wanted to name a few key ones. Bayley got eliminated by Bianca. I think she was in there for a bit, but eventually got tossed. She had Cole, as in Michael Cole, shaved into the back of her head, which is hilarious. Unfortunately, during the first half of the Women's Rumble, I had a lot of streaming issues. So I had to do a lot of refreshing. And from this point on, I stayed deliberately 2 minutes behind the rest of the world just to keep the streaming up. And that helped. So if you can stay off your phone, I recommend that. Stay 2 or 3 or 5 minutes just behind everybody and just deal with it and stay off your phone. And you'll know 4 minutes after the rest of the world, but so what? Just stay off your phone. So that helped. I should have thought of that way earlier because I missed some chunks here. But I know Jillian Hall and Victoria. Very cool to see Victoria back. And Tori Wilson as well. There were some legends in here. Billie Kay entered 4th or 5th or something like that. And she did the thing where she goes right to the commentary table and there doesn't seem to be any enforcement of any rules that you have to actually get in there at some point and try to win the thing, which is very silly because shouldn't they all just wait till number 30? I don't really know. But so they were doing a thing with Billie Kay, and I knew they were going to do this. They always overdo this because she is goofy and kind of silly. They have to make her damn near an idiot and approach Toni Storm, Shayna Baszler, and whoever else about look at my resume because she did like a resume thing once that was like funny, and they will do this forever. And eventually, Jillian Hall, who had the old gimmick of singing badly, I'm not kidding. Eventually, they had her team, but then Peyton Royce comes out, and everyone starts looking, and there's like an iconic reunion tease, but Billie Kay doesn't do the iconic pose all the way, and it doesn't really work out. And the Riot Squad, who's supposed to be friends with Billie Kay, turns on her, and etc., etc. I hope at some point, because I want to see what else Billie Kay can do. I hope at some point they have Billie Kay have that stand up for herself moment and not just do with her whatever they did to Lana. Rhea Ripley's at 14. That was cool. She came in not kicking quite all the ass I was thinking or hoping. But she was in there. I think she threw Toni Storm out first. That makes the most sense. Go to the rival. And Toni looked great out there. Santana Garrett, second-generation athlete they mentioned, who's a daughter of Tito Santana. She's not. I don't know. Yeah. So Charlotte Flair's in there, and she's doing great too as well. And Bianca's still in there. Um, Dana Brooke takes a hard bump on the apron from Rhea Ripley, I believe, which is the hardest part of the ring. A lot of people don't know that. And Ric Flair shows up to enter the Women's Rumble, presumably, but really it's Lacey Evans. And she's wearing a purple robe. And I love this because Charlotte's beating her up in a robe, and I don't think they planned this, but it was so perfect. Purple feathers are flying off the robe, and there's feathers everywhere, and I would just love... I think Bayley was still in at this point, too. Bayley, when it was in there a while. I love that... actually, sidetrack. Bayley's elimination was originally missed for something else that was going on, and they had to replay it. It was supposed to be a bigger deal. I think somebody was entering. Mickie James was entering, I think. But anyway, Bayley was brawling rolling around on a ring with somebody, and feathers are flying everywhere. And I would just love to know what was going through their minds, where they're doing their thing, and all of a sudden, purple feathers just keep flying by everybody's face. I thought it was tremendous. Mickie James is there, which I mentioned. She was great. Nikki Cross is a House of Fire. New music on Nikki Cross. Is she going to win the Rumble? She's got new music. You get new music, you win the match. R-Truth shows up, and he made a mistake, and everybody yelled at him. But then the 24/7 thing gets involved, which somehow led to Alicia Fox temporarily winning the 24/7 championship before getting eliminated and pinned by R-Truth. And I stopped taking notes. Well, anyway, you know what happens. Bianca and Rhea and Charlotte are the final three, and I think they double-teamed Charlotte to get her out. And she kind of gave him that laughing nod, like, all right, your girl's got me. I see what's going on here. But her focus would be on Lacey anyway. I really hope they don't take Charlotte and Lacey all the way to Mania, but why do I think they will now? Because Charlotte was planting seeds and eyeballing Asuka's Raw title, which she should be doing regardless. So, who knows? And Bianca and Ripley go back and forth. I really thought it was Ripley and gonna take it, and Bianca did. And then she gave a tearful speech, and everybody was happy. And I think it was the right move. I don't know if Rhea needed it as much as Bianca. Also, Rhea did a thing with Alexa Bliss. A lot of people were let down by this. I was a little let down by this, but relieved at the same time. Alexa comes in, and they all stop. Not because she's physically a threat, but they know there's going to be shenanigans. They know there's a trick coming, and they want to stay in the Rumble. So, and this looked preposterous. A 5-foot-tall blonde girl was. Everybody stopped so 9 women can beat her up and stomp her, which looked preposterous. If you've never seen the show before, you'd be like, why are they so threatened? Then they did the thing with the lights, and I was afraid they were going to do the wardrobe change in the middle of the Rumble, and maybe it was pre-taped or whatever, and they would do this nonsense with the rocking horse, and maybe all the women would disappear or they'd come back or something like that. Thankfully, after the first set of lights went down, Rhea grabbed her and chucked her out. I didn't want Alexa chucked out, at least not that quickly. I thought she was a contender to win the thing. But I would have liked to have seen her cause some damage first, take a few out, and then maybe Rhea could be like, oh, before this gets out of hand, let me take Alexa out. And set up Alexa and Rhea, maybe. But then Rhea is going to be out of her element because she's got to play the reindeer games of Alexa and Fiend and all that stuff. I don't know. They may still go that direction. I know not the answers. Should be interesting. Tonight's Raw. I imagine Rhea will be on it. And probably Damian Priest, too, I'm thinking. So that was great. Yeah. Bianca Belair will wrestle, presumably either Sasha Banks or Asuka at WrestleMania. We don't know who. I think Bianca needs a heel. Personally, those are both babyface matches. I'm going to say the same thing for Drew as well. Drew needs a heel. I think we got to lay off the babyface stuff. For the babyface versus, if you don't know, I mean the two good guy stuff versus each other. I like it just fine. I don't hate it. But like anything else, if you overdo it, it becomes an issue. I think Drew needs a heel for Mania. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. They do a recap of the Rumble. Booker T. I jumped ahead. Miz and Morrison are kissing Bad Bunny's ass. I hate this dumb shit. Miz and Morrison are knocking on Bad Bunny's door to kiss his ass and tell him they want to be best friends. Here's my issue with that. By and large, at least in the United States, where is the main country where this product is marketed, Miz and Morrison are more famous than Bad Bunny here. No one knows who the fuck Bad Bunny is. And around the world, most likely, I'm willing to bet Miz and Morrison are more famous than Bad Bunny. Why are they kissing his ass and begging them to be his friend? They always do this to their WWE super, but they insist they say superstar, not wrestler, and then you gotta act like an idiot every time you see another person in the entertainment business backstage. Anyway, Miz is trashing Booker T, and Booker T standing behind him, which I thought meant Booker would be in the Rumble and toss them, and not quite what happened. But anyway, there's a recap of tonight's events, and R-Truth somehow loses the 24/7 championship to Peter Rosenberg, the announcer, which I'm fine with. I didn't cry about. It's good to see a title change, right? Okay, never mind. So far, there's 3 title changes, and they're all 24. 4 title changes. Women's, yeah. So we have Kevin Owens in the Last Man Standing versus Roman Reigns. This match was the special stipulation here was that Kevin Owens has to do as many dangerous things as possible that we're never going to replay after we forget what to do with them. So there's a huge bump off the 3rd level of the Thunderdome by Owens. He damn near dies, but he gets up. Then he gets hit by a golf cart and tumbles, and he gets up. Then he does the splash on the announcer's table, and in the back, the extra warehouse spare ring area, gets up. Then he does a senton off a giant forklift into 2 tables. They both get up. This was I hate to say it, because I love these two, and I love when these two are together. This is my least favorite of their matches. It was a lot of brawling and doing the chair and a stomach, chair and a back, chair and a stomach. The story was getting lost here. Owens woke it up when Roman would do his talking promo during a match type of thing, and he mentioned Owens' grandfather, father, whoever. And Owens woke up, and you could feel the emotion there. I think something was lost in translation, but maybe it was just a foregone conclusion. It's like the 3rd big match they've had, at least, right? And I think that just hurt it. Because I think we knew Drew was probably beating Goldberg, but there's always that doubt of like, ugh, they might do it. It was almost like a sigh of relief. Here was like, geez. Owens handcuffs, Roman's to some kind of lighting structure, and Roman literally, it's too low for him to stand up, which was interesting. So Roman, it was really cool. He grabs the referee and smashes the referee into another piece of the structure to stop the 10 count, which was great. Paul Heyman comes out and takes a long time with those handcuffs, which is really nerve-wracking. One referee started counting, and he got to 6, and the second referee got to 6, and he just stopped, so something was going on. It took a long time, but eventually Paul got him out, and Roman puts the guillotine on Kevin Owens, chokes him out for the 10 count. Roman Reigns, by the skin of his teeth again, is still your tribal chief and your champion. So far, this is not a bad show. It's a little predictable, but Bianca was more of not a favorite, but we hope so, but kind of a favorite. Bianca was like the positive maybe, and she did win, so that was pretty good. Especially being the Rumble with no people. It was just, yikes. Edge and Orton start the Men's Royal Rumble. They announced the entrance. I have to move, my leg fell asleep. They announced the entrance on Twitter. I saw accidentally spoiled on the WWE UK Twitter of all things. What do you think about Edge and Orton going in first and second? I think don't spoil the most fun of the whole freaking pay-per-view, you idiots. Why would you do that? The fun of the Rumble is the countdown. Who's coming out next? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Now they just tell. It wasn't that bad. I saw other people defending that decision. Like, in '99 we knew Vince and Austin were 1 and 2. And I will add, being an old man, In '96, we knew Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley was 30 because he wrestled Duke DeDrosy in a free-for-all match or something like that. And the loser was 30. The loser was going to be 1, and the winner was going to be 30. Oh, that's right. So Triple H, so Hunter Hearst Helmsley was first because he got DQ'd against the Garbage Man by hitting the Garbage Man with a garbage can that the Garbage Man brought to the ring, which was made the excuse for let's have Hunter go the distance and Drosy can go in 30 because come on. So that's what happened there. But I know they've done certain orders, or in 2016 we're going to punish Roman and make him go in first. Those are all part of angles. Edge and Orton had a personal issue. So there's no reason for them to have to go 1 and 2 because their personal issue has nothing to do with the championship or the Royal Rumble. So why would that affect? I don't know. But they did, and again, I had some streaming problems again still. So I think Edge and Orton, they just jump started and started beating each other up. Orton gets presumably hurt early on, and I bought it when Edge hit him in a knee with a chair. Maybe he still got hurt, or maybe they called some audibles. I don't really know. But that's possible too. I guess we'll find out. But I think they just worked us really well. Sami Zayn is number 3, which contributes to his conspiracy theory. That gimmick makes no sense because he's like a left-wing, vague Antifa kind of guy, and it's the opposite. It's the far right that are the conspiracy nuts. So they just don't know what the hell they're doing. But they're going to keep going with it. Carlito shows up, and he's looking great. Big E has new music. He doesn't come out to New Day music. Ugh, gross. I never want to see that. Big E, I was really hoping Big E was going to win the whole thing. He does not. Damian Priest arrives. Great to see Damian Priest. He might have had some nerves and jitters. I don't know if he was really quite on his game. I don't think tight white tights are good on him. I think he needs the black leather pants because the tight white tights just told us he's kind of, not that I can throw stones on the leg days that I've missed, but he can use some more legs, and the tights didn't do him any favors there. I think the black leather Rockstar pants were way better for him. Way more imposing. I don't know, I was hung up on it. I was actually distracted. I'm like, I'm not enjoying, this is not the Damian Priest that I wanted to show up, but it's done is done. Miz and Morrison are actually dumped by Damian Priest, and Bad Bunny shows up to do a dive, and Bad Bunny sells his own dive more than anybody in AEW. At least he held his ribs. Kane shows up, and Kane got eliminated by Damian Priest eventually, so they have some hopes for Priest. Keith Lee was not in this. My educated guess is because Mia Yim has tested positive for COVID-19. According to her own admission on Twitter, I'm not giving out anyone else's personal health information there. So I imagine that's why Keith would not be there. Women. Am I right? Oh, he does. Stop it. Kane actually... I think Kane chokeslammed Ricochet on the ring apron, which, if you don't know, it's the hardest part of the ring. What else did I write here? I don't know what I wrote. It really doesn't matter, I guess. Wardrobe. I don't know what that says. Christian arrives. Wow. Man. This is the moment. This is the moment of all the moments this night that needed a live crap. Christian returning. No one thought that was happening. That was kept an even bigger secret than Edge's inevitable return a year ago, because it was just like we kind of knew he was coming back at some point, but they let us forget about it for 3 months, which is very smart. And then they played it, and people went crazy. Here, I heard nothing. This is like, that was like a head turning out of left field, and it was perfect because Edge had been in there forever. He's getting beat up. Who's going to help him? It was perfect. And they did the hug, and I think they did a double spear at one point. He did his unprettier here and there. I don't know. I have no idea if Christian's going to wrestle a few more matches, or is Christian the guy you wrestle before you wrestle Edge at WrestleMania? Probably. I don't know. I really don't know. But if they ever get around to doing the Hall of Fame ceremony from last year, I think Christian should be in the next one. In my opinion. Was happy to see that. This was odd. Rey Mysterio comes out, and he's wearing, I think, something with a V, Victoria or Victory Beer or something like that. And Michael Cole basically does like a 20-second read of like an ad, like he's badly hosting a podcast, and I would know of a commercial for Victory, Victorian, Victor, whatever beer, the Pride of Mexico. That somebody, you can do that. Somebody put some bucks into that one. Somebody made money. But anyway, Rey Mysterio comes out shilling beer. I think Dominic was in this at some point too when he took Corbin out, which was a fun thing. Seth Rollins returns. No, Becky Lynch did not return. One of them's got to stay home, watch the baby. Not that it should be her. I'm just saying one of them has to. So I don't know what the issue is there. Seth Rollins returns. Daniel Bryan is in there for a while, and he's doing great. This kind of sucked towards the end because Omos, the tall guy for AJ Styles, he almost ruined it. Now he dragged out Big E and somebody else, Cesaro. He definitely dragged out Big E and then one other babyface, and yikes, it sucked. Yeah, nobody wanted to see that. I would have liked to have seen Big E, similar to Charlotte and Rhea, be like at least like one of the final three or so. Like, remind us that he could win this. Let us know you're serious with him, and to have him just kind of be a victim, unless he goes right after AJ, and then he has to beat AJ. I don't know. So I'm so big on Big E. Oh well. Oh well. I have my biases. Seth Rollins eventually is the one who did the stomp to Daniel Bryan. When Rollins won it 2 years ago, the stomp to Braun Strowman on the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring to win the thing. Braun Strowman is number 30. He tosses some people, and I really forget how he got tossed. How would he have gotten tossed? Braun Strowman. Does anyone remember if you're listening? Well, he doesn't win it. Edge is in there. Edge throws out a heel. I think Edge tosses Rollins. I think. He tosses out a heel. Or Braun. Whatever. Edge eliminates one of those two heels. And turns around. Orton out of nowhere. Wow, Randy Orton is back. And gives him the RKO, and I fell for it. I thought, jeez, they're going to make him go through all that and screw him. Just because they hate us and they don't want us to have any joy. And Edge just does a little switch around and tosses Orton, and Edge wins the thing. And that is perfect. And you got me. But we didn't need to see Orton win it. To Orton to become another 3-time Rumble guy, I think that's just Austin. That should just be his solo thing. Edge is the one of 7 men, I believe, to have won 2 of these things, at least. Austin, we know he's won at least 2 because he's won 3. That's one guy. Austin, Triple H, Orton, Batista, John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, and Edge. That's 8. That's 8 dudes who have won 2 of these things. Only 4 women have won the women, so it's going to be a while. But, 8 guys have won 2 of these things. Which actually really shows you the main event doesn't really change all that much. So Edge has won the Royal Rumble. What do we do with Edge? What do you think? Edge and Drew is a possibility? I don't think... I don't want to... I'm not saying I don't want to see that. I don't feel 100% well about Edge versus Drew. My reasoning being we have one sentimental, nostalgic favorite and one, heroic babyface who's carried this company through like the worst time. So I really don't want to. I would hate to split that. I think Edge and Roman is the way to go. Not just because it's spear versus spear. I know that sounds kind of interesting to a lot of internet fans, it seems, but I don't think it's that interesting. Especially because we just saw Goldberg, who also does this beer. But the promos between Edge, Roman, and Paul Heyman, all verbally at the top of their game, because we saw what Edge, the promo he did on the Go Home Raw for the Rumble was outstanding. I think verbally the setup for Edge Roman with Heyman will be very good. And Christian is a guy you could throw in there. We can do Edge and Jey Uso, Christian and Jey. Oh, do we do the tag match? Roman and Jey versus Edge, and and Christian. But Roman doesn't want to tag in, so we don't have Roman and Edge touching too much before this. And nice moment. Edge and Christian can double team Jay and beat him. As Roman walks off, something like that. Something like that. Close? No. Drew, I don't know. Drew, I still think he needs a heel. He's done Seth. I'm afraid it'll be Braun. I really hope not. I don't know what other heels there are. I don't think. I mean, Sheamus has to do that turn eventually, but is that really going to be the big Sheamus and Drew? Was kind of. I think that was going to be a better if they built it up a little more and not taken a left turn with Goldberg. Sheamus and Drew would have been the match for the show. I don't know. I really have no idea, and I like not knowing. Not knowing is exciting. Not as exciting as tonight's. The road to WrestleMania, they say it begins with the Rumble. In a way, it does. And for me, in my mind, it begins with the Raw after the Rumble. Because the Raw after the Rumble is usually a answer a big question Raw about WrestleMania. It's set up a WrestleMania main event Raw, especially with us knowing half of it from the night before with these two championship things. So it's going to be an interesting week. And I'm going to cover Raw. You'll hear from me in about a day or so. One thing I also want to know this with the women, I'm running a little long here. It's the Royal Rumble. It's a lot to cover. The women can have all the firsts in the world. Whether it's the first WrestleMania main event, the first Elimination Chamber, the first Money in the Bank, the first Hell in a Cell. The one thing that's not going to change in the near future, or maybe ever, is they're still in the old ring, which is designed, it caters to the men. It's the 20 by 20 ring, and buckle to buckle, it's probably 22, 21 feet, something like that, because it would be a little longer, wouldn't it? I don't know. But whatever. So you're going to see, so from rope to rope, the women do have to take more steps. Their cardio, I think, has to be better, which sucks for them, but, their cardio has to be better because they, when they're running ropes and everything else, because they have to go farther to get from A to B, and you'll see more Irish whips from the center of the ring out to the ropes, which look better anyway, and they save time, as opposed to backing up. You don't want to see Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss back each other up from the middle of the ring to the rope to shoot over the rope to the other side of the rope, because it then takes forever. And that's one thing that you're just always going to have to deal with. And that's the one first. And it would, if they had their own ring, it would be terrible. And logistically, there would be a nightmare of setting both of them. I don't know how. What I'm saying is, because the rings are the same, the height of the rope is higher for the women, which is why they used to have in the Diva era women battle royals, you could just go out of the ring through the second, through the first one, and you would just be eliminated. I like that they didn't do that. I was afraid they were going to do that for the Rumble, the first Women's Rumble in 2018. They didn't. I think it would have been condescending if they did, and I hope it never happens. I hope they never do it that way again. But because the ropes are going to be higher for the women in that sense, there's going to be more ring apron style eliminations in a Royal Rumble. And if you don't know, if I never mentioned it before, if I never mention it again, the ring apron is the hardest part of the ring.